Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Reality. Today we are speaking to the legendary godfather of Canadian hip-hop, Maestro Fresh Wes. Maestro is a rapper, record producer, actor, and author, to name a few. Welcome to the show, Maestro.
Hey, how you doing, Queen?
I'm great. How are you?
Beautiful. Actually, it's cold in Toronto, but at least the sun is out. The sun is shining. That's a beautiful thing right there. Still.
That's great. That's great. It's such an honor to have you on the show. You know, it's been 16 years since the first time we met, so time definitely flies. Shout out to our mutual friend Gerald Barclay for connecting us in the first place.
Yes.
So
I like GB. Me and him go back, way back, so it was great.
Yeah, definitely. He's a big fan of yours. He always has been. Yeah. So you were like the pioneer of Canadian hip-hop. What was it like starting out in the hip-hop scene in Toronto?
Well, thank you, first of all. Toronto, just like every other major city in North America, has its own history when it comes to this genre of music. A lot of it of us, we learned from our big brothers and sisters in New York. So what the scene was like back in the 70s, like late 70s, was sound crews. We had sound crews like, Sunshine Sound Crew. That was the biggest one in Toronto. I was a little snotty-nosed kid back then, like 10, 11, when they were raining terror around Toronto, just having parties everywhere all across the greater Toronto area. Later on, we started doing, there was a radio station called CKLN 88.1, which is Ryerson University. And at 15, I became one of the first MCs on that show. So my mentor at the time was a brother by the name of Ron Nelson. So that was 1982, 1983. And I started doing, every other week or so I'd be on just rhyming over some beats, over some break beats. And that was our world. Our world was just this little fledgling radio station, college radio station out of Toronto. And it was an honor for me to be one of the first MCs on that platform right there, where the city at the time we thought was the world knew about me. I'd be coming back to school on Monday, and people would be like, yo, my teachers would be like, yo, I heard your radio. I heard you on the radio, so that was a beautiful experience for me. And then, it evolves, and there's other artists coming out, and the main thing wasn't just about performing on radio. It began to be, opening up for American acts would come to Toronto. So I was fortunate enough, like one of the first groups I opened up for was a group called UTFO out of Brooklyn. And then after that, it was a group which you might have heard of, might not have heard of, called the Beastie Boys.
I love them, of course. Mm-hmm.
So when I opened up we didn't have much music or MTV back in those days. So when we saw these white dudes, it was like, who the hell? Who are these guys? You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't know what they looked like. We just heard their voices. So rest in peace, MCA, who was the first MC I ever seen jump into a crowd. He was doing mosh pit, mosh diving, whatever they call it, back in the early '80s, and I didn't understand what the hell that was until years later. But shout out to Beastie Boys, and but I have to give kudos to other artists as well out of my city. Like, you had the Dream Warriors, then you had Michie Me and LA Love, which were two acts that were the conglomerate that they used to rock with was one called Beat Factory. So Beat Factory was like the OVO of Toronto back in the late '80s, mid to late '80s. Everybody who was doing anything except me was rocking with Beat Factory. at the time, and those were the groups that they had. And shout out to them because, and Ivan Berry and them because, you know, Scott LaRock and KRS-One of Boogie Down Productions had a track with Michie Me in 1987 called Elements of Style. And just to have that collaboration with the Bronx, where hip-hop originated, and to see it, you know, Toronto getting shouted out in the back of the Criminal Minded album, you know, it said, shout out to Ron Nelson and the Toronto Posse. And when I saw that, I knew it was on and popping. I knew they were talking about us as a whole. And once New York put that battery in the back, it was we didn't turn back, you know. But then, you know, Scott LaRock unfortunately got killed. And it just goes to show you what happens, how much impact one life could make, and the removal of one life, what that could have, the impact that could have made. I mean, Scott LaRock was thinking about working with other Toronto artists like MC Rumble and Strong. You know, they were a group out of Toronto. A matter of fact, KRS-One battled MC Rumble. You know what I'm saying? And it was like they developed a camaraderie. Yeah, man. And Bismarck, he was beatboxing for KRS-One when they battled my boy. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
We had, yeah, man. And Toronto and New York, we always had that big brother, younger brother relationship. And they really supported us, you know. So maybe we didn't get support maybe on New York radio, whatever like that, but the artists were supportive, and you know, just to see that right there. And then even later with Michie, with MC Light's label, First Priority, they put her on, you know. So all that time right there, 1988, 89, that was a formative years of, actually 87, 88, those were the formative years of you know, Toronto artists making the transition from just making demo tapes to and performing on opening for acts to actually making records and getting that international acclaim. So that was really the battery in my back to see what was going on over there with them. And I changed my name from Melody MC to Maestro Fresh Wes in 1988. And I realized that if you get your own video on Much Music, there's an opportunity that you'll get some type of publicity. So I shot my first video. It cost me $5,000. And we got on light rotation on Much Music, which is Canada's version of MTV. So I was excited. I'm like, me and my squad, we were excited. Like, this 1988, I got a video. I mean, it was whack. The quality was whack. But I was so happy at the time that, you know, just I had an idea and I made it come into fruition. And it was a beautiful thing. So
that was a crucial.
Yeah, it was very crucial. It was, And
it was a step
I was inspired by what. Say it again?
Oh, sorry. There was a little bit of a delay. It sounds like that was a very empowering thing to have the big brothers kind of come and give you guys that support, even as artists, and then to get your music video out was like a huge stone for you, and you know, towards the direction that you ended up going. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's just a little bit of delay.
No, that's fine. That's fine to interject. Like, my whole thing is, instead of waiting for opportunities, you make opportunities happen. So a lot of Beat Factory artists and a lot of other artists from Toronto, they used to I used to see perform in a show called Electric Circus. And Electric Circus was a show where, you know, R&B acts could go on, hip-hop acts could go on and perform. So I just followed I saw what people were doing with Beat Factory, and I said, I'm going to do my own thing. Let me try to get on Electric Circus myself. They got at me. I performed one time. They must have liked me. They asked me to come back on one more time. And Stevie B, I guess he calls it, the music is a genre, freestyle music, or the dance artist, Stevie B. He just so happened to be visiting. Yeah, man. Well, that was a very pivotal point for Canadian hip-hop, because him being in Toronto at the time when I was performing Let Your Backbone Slide for the very first time, he saw what I did, liked what I did, pulled me aside and said, listen, man, you know, like, we were about to sign for a company called Eureka Records with BMG. That was a label that we were about to try to get Let Your Backbone Slide as a single on. But then, you know, once we met Stevie B, we halted the breaks, and then he introduced us to the label that he was on, which was LMR Records, which is a small little label in New York. But that was the label that was putting out his music. So he put me on to his people's, and the rest is history, because you know, Let Your Backbone Slide. Got my record deal, and then we turned that into an album deal from a single deal. And I'm proud to say that Let Your Backbone Slide is the first single from Canadian hip-hop ever to go gold. And the album went platinum. You know, the rest was history. But if it wasn't for Stevie B right there, the outcome wouldn't have been the same because, yeah, we would have been linked with probably like a small label in Canada, but we were trying to sign with Canadian labels before, but they weren't really feeling like how I was sounding, the direction I was, you know. But that was the turning point right there for me, and not only for me, but for the turning point for Canadian hip hop, because now it just wasn't about having a cool record. It's about having a banger. It's about having a hit record. And I got a slogan: don't make records, make history. And Let Your Backbone Slide became a part of Canadian music history. You know, so
definitely
so that
did.
was that,
like
that was the big that was a big thing from 19. I gave you a rundown from like the 70s, 79 to like 89. You know, in Toronto. Yeah.
That's the foundation right there. You know, when I moved to Toronto, so it's an interesting dynamic that you just told me about, and, you know, being from New York and then moving to Toronto and then meeting you, everybody that I had met up in Toronto, they were like, what? You met Maestro Fresh Wes? They told me, you know, they played that song for me, Let Your Backbone Slide. Every single person that I knew, and I knew a lot of people, I was very social back then, everybody knew it, everybody loved it, you know, it was just legendary. So it's so amazing to hear the backstory from you right now. So what I'm so curious about, and, you know, I want to get into your head a little bit, because the way you think is obviously very unique, very innovative, and just your whole attitude and approach is very, very intriguing, especially with all that you've accomplished. So what was your mindset when you were starting out that took you to that level? And, you know, how did that evolve as well?
Well, my influences just so happen to turn out to be the greatest artists, and are still revered after so many decades. It's one thing to like certain artists or whatever like that, but then it's another thing when they stand the test of time, and it looks back and you look back and you knew, like, yes, I just didn't think these guys were good because I liked them at the time. They were just legends, you know, in the making. And I say that, you know, giving Eric B. and Rakim props for that paid in full album. That followed the Leader album, Eric B. and Rakim. Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. What else was I listening to? Kumo D. I was listening to Ice-T's Power album. Those were the albums that inspired me. And obviously artists like LL Cool J and Cool G Rap, you know, with a touch of Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. But those were the artists that really motivated me. Yeah, man, to write and become who I was as a MC. We're talking about artists like that, like in the 88, 89. My mindset was, I'm going to be the greatest I could possibly be out my country, out my city, especially out my city, because we didn't know anything else about spots like Alberta or British Columbia. We knew nothing. All we knew was Toronto and New York. That was it.
Wow.
That was it. Yeah.
All right.
You know, so then later I ended up going to across Canada, and the love I received from Vancouver, Alberta, the rest of the country, you know, that, you know, I love it. But I'm saying back in the late 70s to late 80s, we didn't know too much about Canada. It was just Toronto and when I say New York, I'm talking New York, New Jersey, Philly. They were a part of that too, because, you know, Schoolie D, Tat Money, you know, who else, man? You got like those guys like that. Not even Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, but you had like DJ Cash Money, MC Marvelous, Steady B. You know, Philly was always doing their thing too as well. And like I said, Ron Nelson was my man who put me on it. And you know, it's funny. Years and years later, one day I was chilling with Ron, and I said to him, "Why did you stop, you know, hip hop? Like, why did you stop DJing or promoting hip hop shows?" And he said, "Wes, I support underground music." He said, hip hop's not underground no more. That's why I just do dance hall. He said, I didn't change.
Oh,
Hip hop
wow.
changed. And that made so much sense
Oh.
because Ron Nelson was the guy, Jess. He would be bringing Just Ice, KRS-One, you know, Biz Markie,
Wow.
Big Daddy Kane. He's bringing these guys to Canada for the first time, you know.
Insane.
And that's when hip hop was underground, you know. And when hip hop wasn't underground anymore, he stayed the same. He stayed doing underground music, and that underground music would stay the test of time is dance hall. So I was just watching his IG live the other day. You know, he cut off his dreads. You know what I mean? But he saw me. He was like, "Yo, Maestro," you know. But Ron Nelson was a very, very instrumental person. Like, we used to go to his jams. You know, I opened up a Big Daddy Kane on Christmas Eve, 1989. That was the last time I ever did a concert hall, but I used to battle MCs back in the days of the concert hall. Before I had my record deal, you know, we had a scene, you know, we definitely had a scene, and I'm honored to be a part of that underground scene. So when I got my record deal, nobody could say that I didn't pay my dues, because these cats, I was considered old in 1987.
Wow.
I was considered
and you
old.
had been in it for 10 years or so.
Yeah. But I was
Already,
considered old school. I was considered washed up, done, because if you didn't have records like Michie Me did at the time, or what Beat Factory was doing at the time, it was like the changing in the guard. This is new. You're old. What are you going to do? Come up with another demo and we hear you rap on CKLN college radio? Get out of here, guy. That's old. You know what I mean? So, but when I came with the Maestro Fresh Wes and the black tuxedo, I shut everybody down. It was like I shut everybody up. It was like, okay. You know, so that,
what was your mentality at that time to keep yourself relevant, keep yourself fresh, and, you know, how did you approach that?
I'm a concept driven artist. So when I came up with that concept as the Maestro, I just took it to the next level. I made sure my lyrics were always on point. I just had to make sure my beats were there too. And, you know, Peter and Anthony Davis of First Defense Productions, who I went to high school with, they produced the first album for me, and they did an awesome job with that. And, yeah, like I said, we knew we were not making records. We were making history. And that's what we definitely did. And, you know, Canada never had, like, you know, in America, you got Grammys. I was nominated for a Canadian Grammy called a Juno Award, right? And I was the first ever to be nominated, but they never had a rap category, so they let your backbone slide in the dance category. And I didn't win, and I remember being kind of like, well, I guess this is as far as we're going to go in terms of national acclaim. But then the next year, the Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences implemented a brand new category called the Best Rap Recording of the Year, and my album was out at the time. So I'm the reason why they made that category for the Junos. You know what I'm saying? And I'm honored to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and yeah, so that was my vibe right there. And the thing is, once I got that, I was nominated for 5 awards. You know, Bryan Adams beat me out of Single of the Year. But what was the main thing of that whole event, besides meeting Quincy Jones, was seeing Leonard Cohen receive his Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, Leonard Cohen's a big, iconic Canadian rock artist. So here I am with my Juno Awards, which look like just like water bottles. And then Leonard Cohen's award was about the size of a grand piano. They had to push his award on stage, standing ovation for Leonard Cohen. And here I am with my 2 liquor water bottles. My whole thing is I reached a destination. But in life, once you reach a certain destination, there are more expectations out there for you. So that was my whole thing. It's like, yeah, you accomplished this. This is cool. On to the next. Keep it moving. Now you have higher expectations for you to reach. You see what I'm saying? So that was my mindset.
Definitely.
My mindset is like expectation, just like my book, Stick to Your Vision. Expectation, you have a high expectation for yourself. Operation is putting that work in. And for me, hip-hop, putting that work in was to, like, drive to New York City all those years, dropping off my demo tape to labels, nobody getting back to me, getting dissed, getting called old in my own city, to finally perform an Electric Circus and getting and being in the right place at the right time. That's a part of the operation to reach your destination, which was to be the first Canadian hip-hop artist to go gold ever and to set that mark. But once you set that mark, there's more expectations for you, and you should set higher marks for yourself. So that was my whole thing. I never lied on my laurels like I'm great, whatever like that. My whole thing was like, let's keep it moving. So
You're so humble, and that's so refreshing. And I feel like, it's so clear hearing this, what you're saying now, why your career has lasted so long and all of the amazing things that you've done, even outside of music, especially with music, but even outside of music. But what type of adversity would you say you faced in your life or your career throughout?
adversity, well, yeah, like my family, like my mom, she wasn't really about me being a rap artist. My community, everybody was hungry at the time. They thought they were just as good or better than me, or I was lucky or whatever like that. But I'm better than you. Not I'm saying that after 4 decades later. Not at the time, but a lot. And it's funny I'm saying that after you just said I was humble, but it's true. Like I was better than a lot of artists. I humbly say that. The cats weren't ready. I was doing this since '82,
Right.
and this is
Well,
'89 now. And
Mhm.
yeah, so
Oh.
I was very poised and ready to take things to the next level where a lot of artists, they just weren't ready at the time, you know what I mean? So that was the vibe, and I mean, cats were kind of mean, because I guess they felt they were just as good or better. And, I could, in life, you can only lead by example. And I think I did a good job of trying to, lead by example. But if you're not ready, you're not ready. Like, what do you want me to do? You're not ready. You guys
That's
aren't ready
true.
at the time. Put that time in, and maybe you'll get. I'm glad your neighborhood pats you on the back, but like listen to your lyrics, listen to your like how you're coming, like your song structure, your chorus.
Right.
You're not taking time. Like, you can make it happen too. So that was the
The thing
vibe
is,
back then.
I was just going to say, yeah, you're humble in the way that you never stop reaching for another goal. Like you're never just going to say, okay, I reached this mark, like I'm done. So that's the humble part. But you need the confidence to accomplish what you've accomplished as well. So I don't think that the confidence means that you're not humble. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will also say to clarify, back in '89, '90, I'm not telling cats, y'all ain't ready. I'm not saying that. I'm just letting history show itself. Like, I'm just letting you guys, play yourself to see that, and at the end of the day, I was still striving to get better and striving to, build up the genre, build up the community with this genre of music that, for whatever reason, I was the one that was supposed to do what I did, I guess, and trust me, I did my best back then. And like I said, I was proud to see what Miss Shimmy and LA Love did, proud to see what the Dream Warriors did, being the first group out of Canada to go platinum in the UK. Like, they had Gangstar opening up for them. Like, how crazy is that? Dream Warriors tour and Gangstar is the opener. Like that, and they're straight out of Toronto. You know what I mean? So we have history in the hood that it's very important that we document this, because we're in a world now that our history can be erased by a push of a button, and then people won't know certain things. So when you tell me you want to reach out for a podcast, it's important that I drop these gems on you, so and listeners out there know, because we're in a time where people aren't reading no more, or if they're reading, it's off a computer. Well, if that information is erased, you'll never know about it, right? So we got to really embrace what we have, embrace the time that we have, and I'm grateful that you want to have me on your podcast. That's awesome.
I'm so happy to have you on, and just, getting this backstory and this information, like you said, things a lot of people, they don't know it, So at what point...
it's not their fault they don't know. It's not their fault.
No, of course.
And and people are being distracted. They're distracted by other things out there, that they're not, the history of something that happened, I just realized someone said on the last podcast I did that I put out albums in 4 different decades. And I never realized that. And I'm like, yo, I'm arguing with the guy who's interviewing me. I go, nah. He goes, yeah, Wes, you want me to show you? And he did a list. And he goes, you know what? You probably have another album in 5 decades. So if I put an album in this decade here, I would be like, yeah, putting out albums in five different decades, man. And to me, I don't lie on my laurels. I'm glad what I've done, but like I said, I'd never forget. I won a couple of Junos, and it was the first. But when I saw Leonard receive his Lifetime Achievement Award, it showed me I got so much to do. You know what I mean? And it might not be me making music per se. It could be me being an actor, me producing my own shows, what have you, like that. But just always keep it moving, man. And we're in a generation right now, in a time right now, Jess, where necessity breeds innovation. We're confined right now, so this is time for everybody to reassess who you are and not let what's transpired within the last 8 weeks change the essence of who you were before this happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and I love that you were saying the other day when I spoke to your phone. You were making the best of the situation, putting the lighting in your house, and getting ready to do online shows. And it just shows what type of versatile person you are. You don't let the circumstances change your mission or your ambition. And
this is what I'm going to do. If something happens
so much
in
about
a second
you.
where if something.
I think we lost Maestro, but I'm sure he'll call right back. 1 second, guys. Just going to go to a commercial, and we'll be back in 1 or 2 minutes.
Join me, Chris Levels, the host of Politics and Prophecy on FreedomizerRadio.com, the show that seeks to educate instead of indoctrinate, enlighten those that seek knowledge and truth while exposing lawlessness and wickedness within our society. Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time you can join me and my guest on FreedomizerRadio.com.
We're starting a brand new show on Freedomizer Radio, The Pilgrim Show. I'm your host, Nate Moss, the Guru Pilgrim. It's a show about technology and politics, bringing you all the latest news and information to keep you up to speed and in the know. I'll be offering advice and tips on technology and sharing my own thoughts on a wide variety of topics. Join me on the journey into freedom and philosophy, Saturdays from 4:30 to 6 Eastern Time, 1:30 to 3 Pacific, right here on Freedomizer Radio.
Please check out the Barefoot is Legal radio show right here on Saturdays, 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That is 10:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Time, as we show you all about your barefoot rights and living a barefoot lifestyle. And for more information about the 501c3 nonprofit Barefoot is Legal, please check out barefootislegal.org.
Join me, Chris Levels, the host of Politics and Prophecy on FreedomizerRadio.com, the show that seeks to educate instead of indoctrinate, enlighten those that seek knowledge and truth while exposing lawlessness and wickedness within our society. Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the time you can join me and my guest on FreedomizerRadio.com.
From the people that brought you the roller coaster making game and who brought you the FEMA coloring books, it's the FEMA Camp Tycoon. That sounds cool! Here you will have over 800 concentration camps to choose from. Wow! You want Vegas, 29 Palms, Jacksonville? Start with Beech Grove, Indiana, and it's
Okay, guys, we're back. Maestro, are you there?
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. No worries. I played a couple commercials.
Yeah, man.
We took a little commercial break.
Good. Where
okay.
were we, man? We were.
So we were talking about how we have to be in the world, and obviously in any type of creative industry. So you were basically going to tell us how you stay innovative in the current circumstances.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, like I had to learn about, certain things I didn't know about. Like, I'm from the era of the physical. We live in the era of the digital right now. I learned to copy and paste last week. I'm a dinosaur. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is this is time for me to like just get up to speed and learn different things. And I'm doing a show. I got my own IG live show I'm doing this Saturday. But yeah, I'm getting ready because I want it to be awesome. So these are things I have to adapt and do. And here's my thing, Jess. Like my points of reference that I look at, I can actually look at myself as a point of reference because there was a time when, the first label I signed to, things didn't work out with them. So I got off that. Then I went to another label called Attic Records. But I said to myself, you know what? Let's say things don't go right music-wise. What am I going to do? I need to have something to fall back on. So I started taking acting lessons. I saw Tupac in Juice, that movie Juice, and I'm like, I studied what he did, and he went to acting classes and stuff like that. So I'm like, boom, that's the move, because the battery was already in my back when I saw Ice Cube and Boys in the Hood and Ice-T in New Jack City. But when I seen Tupac in Juice and with Omar Epps in them, I'm like, yo, these guys look like me, man. Like, I could do this. And I studied, like I went to classes and stuff. And, I got dissed at a lot of auditions, man. I wasn't that good at first, and I kept on working at it. But what did I learn from being a hip-hop artist? I learned the importance of repetition and the importance of preparation. So that was what I try to implement in my auditions, and especially implement when I get the part, when I go on set. I try my best to be prepared, and I be prepared by, practicing my lines, that repetition right there. So, then I started getting a couple other parts, TV shows in Canada, and then I get the call to do like a small, tiny role in this movie called Paid in Full. And the ill part was that the same cameraman, Paul Sarasi, who shot Let Your Backbone Slide 10 years prior, he was the cameraman of the movie Paid in Full. So when he saw me on set, he made sure that I got some shine. You know what I mean? So that's why.
Amazing.
Yeah, man. So when you see Mekhi Phifer playing Money Mitch in the whip, and he pulls up with Dame Dash and Wood Harris is in the back seat too, and I'm riding shotgun. The reason why I got shine is because of Paul Sarasi. He made sure that even though I didn't have that much dialogue, he made sure that he looked out for me, which was awesome. Because in life, you never know who you're going to meet along your path, man.
True. So that's the picture that's the one I posted to advertise
he made sure
the show
I got
today.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I love that picture. It's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, man.
So what was the reason why you decided to move into other creative endeavors outside of music?
Because I said if one door closes, it's good to have something else, and I didn't want to, make my passion my liability. So when I say stick to your vision, I mean, you work at it, but if you got to find other hustles while you work on that, you got to do that. So my other hustle was film and TV. You see what I'm saying?
Awesome.
And by doing that, that took the load off of my shoulders. That I could make music when I want to now. You see what I'm saying?
That's awesome. Diversify.
The portfolio. But the main thing is you don't want to make your passion your liability. And a lot of my friends, not just in Toronto, but New York as well, that was what they did. They were good at doing music, doing beats, or rhyming, and that was it. They didn't want to try to learn different skills along the way. And, I'm glad that my life experiences made me want to do what I did. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, diversify or die. Not literally die, but, you got to
Well, man, you got to eat. Man.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think for an artist, a musician, a rapper, anybody creative, they love to dabble in other creative endeavors anyway, because it's all still like a creative outlet, right? So, but I love that you went through the training process. You took it very seriously, like as you do with everything that you get involved with, it sounds like. So.
And, you know, I took a screenwriting course in Ottawa at Algonquin College. You know, I mean, yeah, I might have a gold record or whatever. Big deal. Who cares, man? It's like, who cares? You know what I mean? It's like you got to, you know, I'm doing film and TV now. I said, well, let me try to do something else. Let me just learn different things because you never know. They could come in handy along the way. So that was my whole thing. So now that we're going through a situation, like I was saying earlier, where we're confined and where, you know, necessity breeds innovation. Well, yeah, I got to be innovative. I got to make sure my show on Saturday, Instagram Live, is dope. I got to make sure that these projects that I'm putting together are dope. You know what I mean? And we'll see we'll see how it goes from there. You know, I mean, think about it. You know, we're friends with GB, Gerald Barkley, who's known for shooting like Wu-Tang Clan videos. The thing with you know, he shot Shadowbox at the same time he shot one of my joints. And I was going to New York in 2017, and I wanted to shoot a video with my brother Cool Keith from Ultramagnetic. So I said, you know what, let me call GB. I know he doesn't live in New York anymore, but I said to him, listen, I want to shoot a video for this track. Do you know any reputable directors in the city that could, you know, do a small little thing for me, you know? He got back to me and said, you know what, Wes? I'm going to come down to New York and I'll shoot it for you my damn self.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
How that whole thing went.
I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised, but the thing is, I came to him just as a referral. Like if you got a brethren, like a young brethren out of film school or something like that, because I don't got the TV dollars, bro. I just got, because I know you're doing big things with Master P and yada yada yada. I just want to know, like, I haven't been in New York in a while. I respect you as a director. You know my work ethic. You know how I'm do my thing. Maybe you could put me on to somebody. He's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come down and I'll shoot that for you my damn self. And that's how that happened. As a matter of fact, after he finished shooting that video, he edited another video I had with Razzcast for me. So you don't burn relationships, man. Don't burn bridges. Like Paul Sarasi saw me. He's the same cameraman for Let Your Backbone Slide in 1989, my video. But when he was the same cameraman for the movie Paid in Full 10 years later. So when he saw me, he made sure I got a little shine. And then GB, yeah, he shot my videos like, you know, 92, 93, whatever, like that, 94. But he didn't care. I still needed some help. He still came through to shine on me, put that shine on me. So that shows right there the importance of relationships, maintaining professional relationships. Where even now I'm working on a script, man, and I'm putting stuff together, and I had a couple questions. I called the producer of my old TV show, just for some advice. Like, nah, Wes, I'll help you out with this.
Wow.
And I go, wow, I didn't expect that. I just expected him to put me in the right way. He's like, I'm not only going to put you in the right way for what you did for us with the show, I'm gonna help you along the way. And if you want to work with me in the future, that's fine. It doesn't matter. We worked 8 years together doing a sitcom, 8 seasons. Thank you. And if you need help, and he didn't say in all those words, but that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I tell people,
I love
man,
that
you got to watch how you treat people along the way, man. You know?
Yes, absolutely. I love that you're saying that, because in this business, in the entertainment industry in general, but, you know, the music business, the film industry, people burn a lot of bridges. And I've learned along the way, and I have to say that GB's taught me pretty much almost everything I know in this business for the last 20 years. I was very blessed to have him as a guide. But it's so important. I've seen that it's so important to build relationships and to have each other's back, and to, you know what I mean? Like, so I love that you're pointing that out, especially for the audience who's listening in, especially if they're striving artists, you know? So I think that's incredible.
You know, the thing, man, I'm a student, man. I've never had any artists to learn from. So I always learn from people younger than me, you know? And, you know, I learned too, like, you know, humility is a skill we all got to work on, because if not, our egos will contaminate us. And we're in an ego-driven industry. But if we don't practice our humility, it's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? So I put out a book called Stick to Your Vision, and I thank Drake. Drake wrote me a beautiful testimonial, greatly appreciated, which was awesome, And Chuck D from Public Enemy wrote the foreword for me.
Wow.
And, yeah, man. So that's awesome to have, the biggest artist in the world from your city, you know what I'm saying, give you a nice little testimonial. And then the lead man of the greatest hip hop group of all time writing the foreword for you. That's like hip hop highlights for me, man. You know what I mean?
Powerful, very powerful.
Yeah, man.
All of you are.
Man.
All of you are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Thank you. But that's my whole thing is, man. I say don't make records, make history. And, you asked me how, my mindset was when I was writing Backbone Slide years ago. I was listening to iconic artists who weren't iconic at the time. They were just dope artists because it took a few years before you considered a legend. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, Ice-T is a legend. I was listening to the Power album. I was Eric B. and Rakim. Rakim is the greatest. I was just listening, It takes a nation of millions to hold us back, that Public Enemy album. Who would have thought back in '89 that album would still be considered in 2020 arguably the greatest hip-hop album of all time? So the music that influenced me to do what I did is still considered to be some of the greatest that ever came out of creation in the genre of music. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
man. So, and I'm proud of my city. Yeah.
Mhm. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Saying?
No, you're saying you're
no, I was just about to say that.
city.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jess.
This is the tricky part about doing live radio, especially because I'm in Serbia and you're online. Sometimes there's a delay, but we'll work it out. But I wanted to just bring up something. I know you don't like to really talk about this much, but I know personally that you've helped so many others get started in this business, and that says a lot about you as a person. And I know that you're not very public about that. And what's your perspective on why don't you why is not public info?
I mean, it's no big secrecy, nothing like that. I just feel like if you help people, you help them. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like help people privately, you're rewarded publicly. And that's my whole thing. I've been rewarded publicly for a lot of things. I must be doing something right, along the way, So that's all my thing is, the root word of humanitarian is human. So if we're human, you're supposed to help somebody. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
That's so,
Beautiful.
People see me with my son, and I'm helping him with his homework, and I'm like, man, people are like, yo, you're a good father. I'm like, how? Like, you didn't ask to be here. I'm supposed to help him with the stuff. Like, I want no stripes for doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want stripes for that. So if I'm in a position that my community considers me the Godfather of Canadian hip-hop, that's a beautiful thing right there. So to me, I'm supposed to be inspiring people. I'm supposed to be mentoring people. I'm supposed to be helping out artists directly or indirectly. You see what I'm saying? And if you
I love that.
You know what happened to me one time? I came out, and this is what really changed my vibe. I came out in '89, and I was the biggest thing, whatever. And then I was asked to do a performance at Sick Kids Hospital. So it was me, and then there was some comedian who was supposed to go on right before me to meet the kids. Mm-hmm. These are kids with chemotherapy. You see them, they're about to die, whatever, this. And what I heard was the comedian guy. He was a pretty popular dude at the time. Apparently, he didn't want to go on until the media got there.
Wow.
And that really changed my whole approach to how people, one, view themselves, their importance, and also their motives for helping people. So I was schooled at my formative years in the entertainment industry of what to look out for. And if you're going to help somebody, just help them, Why you want cameras there to humiliate these kids that you're giving back if you don't really want to do it? So that was a pivotal point in my career where it's like, when I help heads, you don't got to know. People don't got to know. That's between me and you. You feel me? That's it, because it's from a good place. It's from a righteous place. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to post this or post that or what. Nah, you know? You know, you got to think about it. What did I say? I went on Electric Circus, and Stevie B just so happened to be there when I got my record deal. You know, that's how I got my record deal. You know, I went to, on my TV show, Mr. D. You know, I play a school teacher on this show. Well, when I went into the audition, I found out that the guy who the show was based on was a guy I went to high school with, who became a teacher at the school, who I based my audition on. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
So you could say Planet Earth got 7.5 billion people, but the one person I used for that to reference point for that audition was that just so happened to be the same person that show was built about. You know what I mean? You know, and that could be like a coincidence or whatever like that. But a lot of good things, synchronicity, a lot of good things have happened to me in life. I've been rewarded publicly, and I don't want to change. I'll help people privately, man. It's cool. You don't gotta. It doesn't have to be a big shebang, because, like I said, the root word of humanitarian is human. So if I'm a human being, my obligation is to help you. We're going through the biggest global pandemic that we ever seen. You know, I went to grab a coffee this morning. I seen this dude struggling with 3 bags, man. 3 bags. Like, there must be 3 heavy bags. He's going up the steps. He had to bring 2 up. Then he had to come back down, bring the next. And I asked him, I go, you know, do you need any help? He had, you know, he said, nah, he's okay. He didn't look okay, but he's at a point where this is where the world is right now. You feel me? But like I said, I'm not going to change or let what has transpired with the last 8 weeks change the essence of who I've been for the last 52 years or whatever, last 30 years of my years as an artist, last 52 years of my life as a human being. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
So that's where I'm at. So you're supposed to help people. You're supposed to offer help. Did I want a pat on the back if I helped him out with his bag? No, that was my obligation to at least ask him if he wanted help.
What I think is so incredible about it, and number one, I have so much respect for that mentality, and I feel like what I find so amazing about it is that you feel, you know, compelled to help as a human being to another human being. It's not because you think you have to. It's not because you want recognition for it. You don't want any stripes, as you said. It's something that you truly feel, and it just says a lot about you. Not everybody's like that, unfortunately.
Listen, I'm only going to be here for a minute. Tomorrow's not promised, so. Like I said, I'm only going to be here for a minute. Tomorrow's never promised, but what impact did I make on my community while I was here? And I'm going to say rest in peace to Fred the Godson, MC out of the Bronx, man, who just passed away of COVID.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. And he's 6 degrees of separation because he worked with a good homie of mine, Showbiz, from DITC, you know? And he just passed away of COVID. So we're only here for a minute, but how much impact are you going to make on your community while you're here? And that's all I can do, just make the most impact. And that's what I'm doing. And while I'm here, like I said, don't make records, make history. And what I mean by that, Jess, is you know, you got the opportunity to do something, you got the opportunity to say something. So make it last and make it resonate from generations to generations. And that's all I can do, man. Just do the best on that level.
I love that, and I feel like you're speaking to the whole concept of success versus legacy. So clearly, your legacy is something so much bigger than success, and everything you talked about today, it reveals exactly that. So thank you for sharing all of that and your perspective and just the way that you think and your approach to life. It's very inspiring.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, and like I said, I gave examples of how people were kind to me, examples of how these opportunities have come to me. I must have done something right along the way, right?
Of course.
and
1,000%.
I'm not afraid to fall, man. I'm not afraid to fall because when you fall, you get back up, and that's what I'm trying to show, you know, my son. That's why, you know, I coach his football teams. That's why I try to show these kids coming up. It's okay to fall as long as you get back up and take it to the next level, man. So while I'm here, I'm going to continue. And who knows, I'll probably drop another album this decade, so I'll be able to say an album out in 5 decades. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's incredible. Hey, you know what? It's perfect. We're moving into the 5th dimension, and you're going to drop the 5th decade album. It's perfect.
Crazy, right?
It is. So before you go, how has becoming a father changed your life?
My son is awesome, man. It's not about me anymore. It's about this young man who didn't ask to be here. I started life late, man, but he's 11 right now, and he's in the back just playing Fortnite with his friends, so I'm glad they have that type of interaction. But it's an honor to be a father. It's an honor, and I can say honestly, I have not taken a day off of being the best father I could potentially be every single day. I never took one day off. That I can say to him. And I say that because, Jess, we're in a time right now where all we got is, we have the present time right now, but you have time to reflect on certain things you did with your family. And, we go through pictures and all that stuff. I go, remember how small you were like that when you're playing football? Remember your dad coaching you? You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Remember these little things. And we reminisce, and these are the times. And I have no regrets like, oh, man, I wish I could have took him to the park here, or, man, I wish I could have done that. And maybe a lot of it happened just because I didn't have my son till I was, older. So it wasn't like I was trying to catch up on nothing. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like I was missing on nothing. So I don't like going out. I'd rather hang out with the dude. So we just hang out a little more now. You know what I mean?
Beautiful.
But, awesome. Man. So that's the vibe. But thanks for having me, man. I hope. Sorry for that little glitch right there. But I hope you made up for it.
That's okay. We just took a quick commercial break. It's no big deal. Thank you so much for sharing and being on the show. It's been such an honor, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next in your chapter in life. It's
wicked.
It's always something new with you, which is amazing.
Yeah, man. We got to keep it that way, though, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, Serbia.
Take care, Toronto. I'll be coming up there in a couple of months. We'll meet up.
Love it. Okay, hon.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, we have about a half